live? Oh, here we go. Hi, everyone. All right, we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I have a lot to talk about today, and I'm excited to share this with you and these downloads with you. I have my Scorpio shirt on. If you can see, oh wait, wrong side. My Scorpio sweatshirt on. Because you all know I'm a Scorpio, which is why I'm obsessed with really huge transformations and also why I love relationships because Scorpio is all about relationships. So if you are here and you are watching, please say hi because I want to connect and I want to connect with your energy. I'm really excited for this because we're going to go deep and I'm going to share with you what has happened for me over the last, hold on, where did I start? Oh, wow, I have a lot of notes here. What's happened for me over the last 6 months, and then the downloads that I've received around relationships in the fifth dimensional frequency, because this is a different type of relationship, and this is really what we're stepping into. And we had Venus retrograde, and Venus retrograde really called us to reevaluate, right? And look at the way that we're relating and completely shift it, because what's going to be required of us in this new frequency from 2022 and beyond is way different than what was required of us before in relationships. And again, it's really about the person that you need to be in order to create the life that you want to create, right? And I'm going to talk about that a little more. Hi, Tao. Hi, Lily. Hi, Roxy. So excited you guys are here. Please say hi if you are watching. So I can say hi to you. Okay, so we had the Venus retrograde, and that's really been like really pushing us to reevaluate and look at our relationships and also our relationship with our feminine energy. So all of this stuff is kind of like under a microscope right now. I think Venus in retrograde is actually over, coming to a close, but it was kind of like from December until now ish. So for me, first I'm going to share a little bit about what has happened for me over the last 6 months, because I really want to illustrate to you what is possible when you shift your energy. Because what we think is about our partner, if you are in a partnership, what we think is about our partner is never actually about our partner. It's always about you. But the beauty of being in a relationship is that that person is your mirror and shows you everything that you need to look at in order to grow. It's just whether or not you're actually going to use that information to grow, or if you're just going to blame the other person. And you guys have heard me, if you've been in all of my groups and stuff, you've heard me talk about it a lot. So who else can I say hi to? Hi, Maria. Hi, Shira. Hi, Easter. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Tal, your life lesson. I know, you're amazing. Tal was in the metamorphosis and she like completely shifted her relationship. It's miraculous. Not surprising, but miraculous. Okay, so basically I'm going to start with telling you a little bit about what has happened with me, or a lot about what has happened with me. And then, because the work that I do with clients, I'm doing this work with myself constantly. Like I really, and I say this with such conviction, and I say this from just the purest of hearts, that the reason why I have grown as quickly as I have in my business, and the reason why I've had the success that I've had, is because of the work that I do on myself, and how I am like relentless about it, and how I'm constantly going there with myself. And that's why I've moved so fast. And I know that to be true because it's really about self awareness. It's about being willing to do the uncomfortable trauma work and getting support around it. And when you do that and you don't stop, and you're just are like, fuck it, excuse my language, that's when shit moves and that's when shit happens. So basically what happened with me is, so I'm going to share that, and then I'm going to share about the downloads I had about 5D frequency relationships. So it's all going to come together in the end, I promise. Okay, so basically in last July, I had my best month in business. I was just over $40,000 in July, which was amazing. And then after that month, I was like, all right, let's go. Like, now I want to go to 50K months and beyond. Like, I'm in, let's do this. And I said to my guides, I said to the universe, I want 50K months. I want that to be my new floor. And the series of events that took place after that was literally an initiation of what I needed to face and who I needed to become, and in order to reach that goal. And let me just say this, it's not about the money, right? The money's fucking awesome, and who doesn't want money, because it provides freedom, it provides a sense of security, and like, let's be real, who doesn't want money? The money's amazing. But it's not actually about the money. It's really about the growth and the expansion and the person that you are required to become in order to have that level of impact. Because in order to have that level of impact, you need to be able to hold a certain amount of energy. And not only that, you need to be integrated within yourself at a certain level. And what I mean by that is you have to have faced yourself in a way that you can hold space for other people facing themselves, right? At least for my work, right? And a lot of people that are spiritual entrepreneurs. So I said that I wanted this goal, and I said I wanted to expand my business and expand my impact so that I was making 50K months or more. And then what happened after that was a series of events that showed me what I needed to deal with in order to get to that goal. And what it was all around my relationship and the way that I was showing up in my relationship. So let me just say, this is not about my husband. He saw my email that I sent last night about this live, and he's like, oh my God, what are you going to say about me? And I was like, this isn't even about you. It is, because he's my husband, right? He's my partner, but this is really about me. And this is about how I was showing up, because they always say, there's that saying, like, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I have serious relationship dynamic patterns that I have been doing since childhood that I am aware of, but that I needed to look at on a deeper level, a much deeper level, in order to show up at this new level, right? So what I was essentially being shown is my patterns of people pleasing, my patterns of codependency, my patterns of avoiding conflict, and my patterns of essentially shrinking myself, not expressing how I feel, and just like kind of going along to get along, right? In relationship. Like, I don't necessarily do that in my business or other aspects of my life. I always joke, like, when I work with clients, I can see their relationship so clearly. Like, I'm a freaking genius when it comes to that stuff. My own relationship, not so much. But this is what was required of me to go to the next level, right? And it was clearly shown to me that I needed to shift these patterns in my relationship, because first of all, my husband and I have been together for 13 years. We'll be married for 9 years next month. And when I met him, I was 27. And I was a different person, right? And I had a lot of patterns from the past, and we all have these. And I'm sharing this with you too, because I'm sure a lot of you are going to be able to relate to this. And it's also illustrating why I am able to help you with this, right? Because I have gone through this myself. I've gone through the people pleasing. I've gone through the codependency, and I've really shifted it, and I'm sharing this with you so you know that you can shift it too. So the way that I was showing up in my relationship, my biggest pattern is around like people pleasing, and then also growing up, and you guys have probably heard me share about some of this, but I'm just going to kind of go over it again. Growing up with my mom had a very like explosive personality, and a lot of my childhood I was kind of living in reaction to trying to make sure that she wasn't going to freak out or that she wasn't going to get angry. And I think that's actually what contributed to a lot of my gifts is I became like super tuned in and super psychic because I was always trying to anticipate what I could do to prevent something bad from happening. And I know a lot of people can relate to this because this is really common, especially when you have a parent with narcissistic tendencies who makes everything about them. You're constantly trying to figure out what you need to do. Like it's almost like, okay, what's going to happen next? How can I prevent something bad from happening? How can I show up so that the other person feels comfortable, the other person feels okay? Who do I need to be in order to make this person feel comfortable so that I can feel safe and so that I can get my needs met? And this is a very common thing that we do in relationships because it's usually something that happened with either one or both parents growing up, where you feel like, and it's a meshment, right? It's taking responsibility or not even being able to understand what is their feeling and what is your feeling. Okay, so this was a deep pattern that I was running, and although I have grown and it had gotten better, it was something that I was shown that if I really wanted to have the impact that I wanted to have and show up in my mission the way that I knew that I was meant to, I had to face this and I had to completely blow it out of the water. And it was very clear to me that this really had to shift. So that was like in July and August that I was kind of like coming to this realization. And then I came to the realization in September that I needed to separate from my husband. And I asked him to leave and he moved out. A lot of you guys have probably heard me share about this. And then, you know, I was kind of like, I didn't really have an idea if we were going to get back together or not. But I took that opportunity and I was like, fuck this. I am ending these patterns. I am going to shift this. I got a ton of help from a ton of amazing healers. I did the work with myself. I got a ton of support. And I really started to shift these patterns and shift the way that I was showing up for myself, and started to really stop these patterns of codependency and people pleasing, using the tools that I use with everybody that I work with, getting help from people that I knew could help me, going all in with my time, energy, money to be like, I am really going to shift this. I'm really going to shift the way I show up. So what ended up happening was my husband completely shifted the way that he was showing up, meaning he started working with a coach. He started changing the way he interacts with me. He started really, really, really changing. And our relationship became completely different. And we decided that we were going to like go all in and really work on our relationship. But that's not even the point. That is like a miraculous thing, right? And it's a huge shift for both of us, and our relationship looks completely different right now. However, I just want to say too, this is like an ongoing process, right? Where it's never like, okay, everything's fixed, let's go back to normal. Like relationship is about growth, and it's about a continual process of choosing and a continual process of showing up in the energy that you know you need to embody to be at the level that you want to be at. And that is one of the biggest things that I learned in this process is I needed to stop expecting the thing to happen that always happened in the past and start expecting the thing to happen that I wanted to create. And that's when things really started to shift for me. I mean, it's been shifting this whole time, but now my relationship looks completely different, and I am able to show up in my power in a way that I never have before. So I just want to go through some of the patterns because I think this will be helpful for you guys because I know a lot of you can relate to these patterns. So boundaries and people pleasing. So people pleasing is and I know you guys know what this is, but I'm just going to say it because I think it'll be helpful for you to hear. So people pleasing is essentially when we are motivated by doing what we think others want us to do in order to feel safe. So basically, growing up, kind of like what I was talking about before, we knew that we needed to get our needs met. As kids, you intrinsically know you have needs, right? You need someone to take care of you, you need someone to feed you, you need someone to clothe you. And in order to do that, you need to show up a certain way in order to get those needs met. Because you could see that your parent probably wasn't fully emotionally available. They were doing their own thing, or they had their own trauma that they were dealing with, so they couldn't fully show up for you in the way that you needed. So you saw if you did what they needed you to do, or became the person that you needed or that they needed you to be, or were emotionally supportive to them, then you could get your needs met. So people pleasing is essentially because you don't feel safe, you become what the other person needs you to be in order to feel safe. Up with that pattern, it automatically creates really poor boundaries where you constantly are allowing your boundaries to be infringed upon because no one ever modeled proper boundaries to you. Because when someone is always saying it's all about me, it's all about me, they're essentially saying your needs don't matter and you need to cater to what I need so that I can give you what you need, essentially. It's classic codependency. So it automatically creates no boundaries. So then when we get into relationships in our life, we automatically feel like we have to do whatever we need to do to make the other person happy. We don't want to rock the boat, and we allow our boundaries to be infringed upon all the time. So that was how I kind of lived my life for, the good beginning portion. Most of my relationship was more about like me not saying how I felt and just doing what I thought my husband wanted me to do so that he would be okay, his emotional needs would be met, and then I would just be left kind of feeling like depleted and like my needs weren't getting met. So this pattern would show up in all other areas of my life, right? Like it would show up in my business, it would show up at work, when I was working or whatever. So it was all around this feeling of like being afraid to rock the boat. Sorry, I'm just looking at what I wrote so I don't forget anything. Not saying how I think or feel and allowing my boundaries to be infringed upon. So this was like a huge thing that even though I was aware of it, it was still showing up, and it still shows up. And this is the thing that I think I want everyone to understand, especially in this work. And if you are considering working with me, like we don't just work on this stuff and then it's done. It's a constant relationship of figuring out how to handle it and learning how to use the tools to deal with it so that when it does show up, you're like, oh, that thing, I got this. I'm going to move through it, right? But it's never like, oh, I'm going to deal with this and then it's done, because it'll always show up, especially when you're growing, right? Every time you go to a new level, those deeper patterns, those core things, they always come up. But what happens is once you start doing the work and once you get real support and tools to deal with it, then you can recognize it for what it is, and you don't actually have to believe that it's true, and you just use the tools to move through it. Okay? So, and that's essentially what my work is all about, is I show you what the pattern is and I show you how to move through it so that you can recognize it on your own and you can move through it on your own so that you don't have to stay stuck in anything really, and then you get to move and grow really fast. Okay, I'm just gonna hold on, I'm just gonna look at the comments. Oh, Lily says that is that even true after we left that relationship? So I'm guessing you're talking about the pattern. So what I will say is this: until we deal with these relationship patterns, they are going to show up in every relationship that we have, right? Which is another reason, I'm glad you asked this question. This is another point I wanted to bring up. This is another reason why I said to myself, you know what? It doesn't matter if I'm with my husband or I'm with anybody. this is my relationship pattern. So whether I'm with him or somebody else, this is my shit. It's going to come up no matter what. So I might as well heal it now, and I might as well fix it now, and then let the chips fall where they may, right? But really, it's all about you. And it's about the way that you show up, because when you start showing up differently, everybody around you changes. It happens all the time. I literally see it with everybody, that as soon as they shift their energy, all of a sudden the issue that they had with this person is a non-issue. The person that they didn't like, all of a sudden they're fine with them. Like all of a sudden your sister and you are cool. All of a sudden your husband and you are cool. It's because when you change your energy, there's no longer those hooks for people to hook into you and create these dynamics. So let me know if that's making sense. Okay, so the patterns that I'm talking about here are people pleasing, afraid of rocking the boat, and afraid of saying how you really feel because you're afraid of rocking the boat, right? But what that does is it essentially makes you feel like you are not worthy. And the self-worth thing is a huge, huge, huge thing for people. So when you don't say how you feel and you just go along to get along and you don't want to rock the boat, essentially what you're saying to yourself and to the universe is that your opinion doesn't matter. Essentially what you're saying to yourself and the universe is that you're not worthy of saying how you feel. Your boundaries don't matter. And then that makes it really hard to manifest because you don't have the sense of worthiness that you deserve the things that you're calling in, because you don't have that worthiness to express exactly how you feel. Okay, so let me know if this is making sense. Okay, so those are some of the really big shifts that I made. I really shifted the way that I was showing up, and then everything around me started to shift. My relationship started to shift. It became a completely different relationship. I'm showing up completely differently, and so is my husband. And so our relationship with our kids are completely different. There's so much more harmony in my house because I'm showing up in integrity for me, and I'm saying how I feel. And I basically, like, it's almost like this energy. It's not really like a fuck you energy, but it's more like I'm being unapologetic for how I feel, and I'm not afraid to express how I feel. And I think this is a huge thing for women, which is why I'm sharing it, because a lot of times we're kind of made to feel that we don't want to rock the boat, or we need to just go along to get along. Okay, so this is really, really important, and I see this with so many people. Okay, so now I'm going to move into what the 5D frequency looks like in relationships. So one of the biggest downloads that I keep getting is around codependency. And like, I think I shared this in my last energy forecast, was that a lot of what we're going to be doing in 2022, especially if you are consciously doing the work, is clearing codependency. And what does that mean, right? Because what's going to be required of us to show up in these 5D relationships is to have no codependency whatsoever. So anywhere that you are relying on somebody else to fill a void or fill a need for you, that is going to have to be looked at and dealt with. Because we can't show up for this new frequency of relationship if you are showing up to a relationship feeling like you need that other person to fill a void for you. Or you're feeling like, I need that other person to make me feel a certain way. That is codependency, and that's something that has to be completely cleared and dealt with. And obviously, you know, stuff like that comes up at every turn, right? Like stuff like that can come up, and then we notice it and we clear it, right? It's not like it's just like gone forever, because obviously we're human and different stuff comes up at different times. It's just really about the awareness of it and the intentionality of, I am not going to be codependent. That is the number one thing when we move into the 5th dimensional frequency of relationships, is clearing codependency fully. And if you know that that's something you really want to do, then the metamorphosis is probably the place that you want to go, because we fully clear codependency in that program. Okay, so what that requires is being super fucking honest. I'm just reading what I wrote because I think it's really good. Is being super fucking honest about where you're looking for other people to fill a void for you, or where you're needing approval, or where you're feeling responsible for other people's feelings. So this is all codependent behaviors that really need to be cleared and shifted. And then the other thing that's really important is looking at is checking yourself and looking at all your motivations behind all of your decisions, right? So is this because of somebody else? Am I making this decision because I don't want to make somebody mad, or because I feel responsible for them, or I think this is what someone else wants me to do? Like, what are your motivations? That's super important to look at. And allowing your motivations to come from, this is what is aligned for me, this is what I feel called to do, this is what I know to be true for me, rather than it being about other people. And then also looking for where you're seeking comfort instead of alignment. This is so important, guys. If you're doing something because it feels comfortable, that's a hard stop. My guides were like, they made this sound. Seeking comfort is we need to check ourselves there, because it's like, okay, well, and it's not like you can't be comfortable, right? Of course, be comfortable. But if your motivation is comfort over alignment, then we really need to look at that. And we really need to say, well, wait, what's really going on here? We need to get under the hood of the car and look at that. Okay. So the frequency that we're seeking in 5D relationships is interdependence. So the statement that came through was this: I am full and loved on my own, and we come together to enrich each other and to co-create, not to get unfulfilled needs met. So do you guys understand the difference? I'm going to read that again. I am full and loved on my own. So like, I'm a full person on my own. You know, it's not like that statement like, oh, this is my other half, or this is my better half. No, I'm a full, complete, loved person on my own. I fully love who I am on my own. And I come together with someone else out of enrichment and to co-create something together. The fifth dimensional frequency is you've done the work and you don't need them. You're consciously choosing this relationship because you know that it's adding value to your life. And then you also understand that the relationship is a tool for growth. So it's not like this old paradigm of like, oh, you complete me, or oh, I need you to feel safe, or oh, whatever, that kind of thinking. It's more about the knowledge and awareness that the relationship is a tool for growth. And then when you trigger the other person, or the other person triggers you, which will ultimately happen, it's knowing how to use that information that the trigger is giving you. Because a trigger is merely just you being shown that there's something within you that you haven't been willing to look at. And it's an invitation to look at it. That's what a trigger is. So, what is that trigger showing you about yourself instead of blaming the other person? So when you get triggered, blaming the other person is 3D. Using that information to look at yourself is 5D. Okay? So staying stuck would be blaming the other person. Growth would be looking at yourself, right? So that's the 5D frequency. And the 5D frequency is everything is a mirror. And that's the purpose of relationships, is growth. So everything that happens in the relationship with your partner is a mirror for you of what you need to look at within yourself in order to contribute to your growth. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. I say this all the time. Sometimes it's a lot easier to blame the other person than take responsibility for your part in the co-creation of a disagreement or a situation in a relationship. And And then each person takes full responsibility for their emotions and their part in the co-creation. So it's not you made me sad, right? It's okay. There's no blaming, right? Maybe somebody crossed a boundary with you and you clearly communicate that, but it's not about blaming the other person for how you feel. That is like the old paradigm of relationships. The new paradigm, the 5D frequency, is taking full responsibility and full ownership over your emotions. And it's not as easy as it sounds. Okay. So if someone crosses your boundary, clearly saying it without blaming. So the 5D frequency of relationships is about responsibility, radical self-responsibility. Nothing is about the other person. Everything is about you. Of course, the other person is a support. They are a loving figure. They are somebody that you're co-creating with. Of course, that's amazing. But when it comes to triggers and when it comes to the growth, it's all about you. And of course, you can give the other person feedback, right? If they ask for it, like, hey, I noticed this, and this, right? And then you talk about it in a conscious way where you both are like-minded and growth-oriented, and you know the relationship is about growth and it's not about blaming, you did this to me, right? Do you guys understand the difference? Wait, let me check the comments here. Okay. All right. So, here are some more like downloads that came through about the frequency. So the frequency is harmony, love, oneness, well-being, common co-creation, and new earth frequencies. So really the big thing here is about a common co-creation. So the relationship is more about co-creating than it is about feeling safe or feeling a void or feeling like you need that person in order to feel a certain way. Because again, you're coming to the relationship as a full person. And now this other person is just enriching your life. And it's all about co-creation. What are we creating together? How are we making the planet a better place together? How are we contributing to each other's growth? How are we contributing to the growth of humanity, to the evolution of humanity together, right? That's the 5D frequency of relationships, is new earth frequencies, and what are we creating together. So that was really, really, really important. Okay, so let me know if that was making sense. Let me know if you guys have any questions, if you have any specific life partner relationship questions, feel free to drop them here. This is a great time to do it. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about some opportunities here to go deeper into this work. So if you are really looking to clear some deeper patterns that you know have been going on with you for a long time, or you feel like there's a specific block in your growth, then the metamorphosis is probably for you. And right now I'm not really offering a sale on it, but if you reach out to me and we determine that that is the best fit for you, I have a little bit of a discount and some bonuses for you if that's what you decide. So the metamorphosis is for the person that you know there's something you're coming up against. You don't know exactly what it is, but you know that you need support in moving through it. That's the metamorphosis. Okay. And you can reach out to me. And also, if you're not sure, you know, you want to go deeper in this work and you're not sure exactly what you need, just reach out to me and I'll let you know which program would be the best for you. So with that being said, I also have the Quantum Accelerator that I'm now reopening on a pre-sale price. So it's a really good price. And I'm opening it back up to bring some more people in. So let me just tell you guys, the Quantum Accelerator, it was downloaded to me back in the fall, back in September, of what this program was going to be. And I knew it was going to be powerful, but I didn't know how powerful it was going to be until I started it, because you know, for some reason, not for some reason, but this is just something I was never anticipating. The community and the groups of women that I bring together are really magical. Like it's always really high vibe, very spiritually gifted women. I say this confidently because it's literally every single woman that comes into my groups are very spiritually gifted. And I don't think that people are usually attracted to work with me unless they're spiritually gifted. So this program has been really magical, and everybody in it has grown by leaps and bounds and has completely shifted their energy. So the Quantum Accelerator is about energy. This program is really about teaching you how to work with your own energy in order to manifest quickly and easily. And it's really about spiritual advancement. So I think what's happened for a lot of the women in this program is their gifts, their spiritual gifts, have skyrocketed. So they've really started to shift the way they're interacting with their own energy and gone very deep into an exploration of their spiritual gifts. Like a lot of these women have started reading the Akashic records, and they weren't doing that before. I didn't teach them how to read the Akashic records. It just started spontaneously happening. So this is like one of those miraculous things that started happening as a result of this program. So what we do each week is, we support, we share, and I give support, but then also I do these frequency upgrades, because a lot of what I do with people is just channeled energy work to shift and upgrade your frequency so that you become an energetic match for what you're calling in. So this is what channels through me, and I think this is why people have such rapid shifts in my energy, is because I channel these frequency upgrades for people. And with the Quantum Accelerator, the fun thing is they get like all of like the hot off the presses energy work. So I'm always experimenting with new energy work. I'm always channeling new frequencies, new galactic frequencies, and I always do it with them first. So everything that I'm working on in my own practice and everything that channels through me, they get immediately. So it's a really magical program. It's 4 months. We meet once a week. And you also get access to a really large toolkit of meditations and breathwork sessions that's yours for life. And it's just really, all the women in there have like really come together, and it's just magical. So I'm inviting more people in now. It's going to be on pre-sale until February 7th, and then the price is going to go up by $1,000. So right now is a great time to get in if you're really feeling drawn to what I'm saying and you're like, oh, that's me, I have to be in that. If you are ready to really skyrocket your spiritual gifts and learn how to work with your own energy so that you can manifest easily, this program is for you. If you feel more like you need to clear some trauma and address some deeper blocks before you do that, then the metamorphosis is for you. It's just kind of, depends on where you're at and what you're really wanting to focus on right now. But the Quantum Accelerator is a deeply spiritually advancing course. So I'm going to put the link for that below so you guys can check out all the details. And like I said, February 7th pre-sale closes. So if you want to get in at that price, now's the time. Also, just feel free to DM me and reach out to me, and we can chat about whether or not this is a fit for you. There's also a really easy payment plan. I did a 6-month extended payment plan. So it's kind of a no-brainer right now to step in at this price for what you get. It's really quite profound and quite magical. The women have really, really shifted their lives, and it's just amazing to watch. I mean, the Akashic records, channeling light language, connecting with their guides, starting new businesses, moving forward in their businesses. Like it's truly amazing. And just the energy of the community is next level. And it's funny. I always say the community aspect of personal growth is really a non-negotiable. Like, you have to have a community of like-minded people that can hold your vision for you if you really want to really create what you want to create and grow at the rate that you need to in order to step into your mission in the most unapologetic way. Like, community is everything. So, and that's what this is, along with these crazy energetic upgrades that you won't really get anywhere else. And it's super fun. I got this download the other day. I don't know if Andrea's watching, but Andrea, when I was in a session with Andrea, she was like, you know what? You have this crazy ability to make healing the worst things ever really fun, because, I do so much deep trauma work. But I have this ability to make it really fun, because I think when a lot of people hear like, oh, clearing trauma, it's not like the first thing you want to do, right? It's not, doesn't sound that fun, right? Especially when I talk about the metamorphosis and healing like your ancestral trauma, which is obviously a non-negotiable if you really want to step forward in a really real way and make a real impact. You got to deal with your stuff. So it's a non-negotiable, but it doesn't sound fun, right? But we do make it fun, and we do make it light, and there's a sense of ease and a sense of fun and a sense of like community. And Andrea called it a trauma healing party, right? Like, it almost feels like this fun party, even though we're dealing with some really deep stuff. But there's an element of lightness to it when you have a community of people who are doing the same thing, and you can laugh, and you can cry, and you can lean on each other, and you can get feedback from each other. It's just, there's nothing like it. So reach out to me if you want to chat about that. I'll put the link for Quantum Accelerator in the comments for all of you. But I'm sending you all so much love. Next week, I'm going to be back with one of my clients, Diana, who I've known for a really long time, who is in the Quantum Accelerator, and she's going to share about her experience and all of the quantum leaps she made in the program. So that's going to be next Friday. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm sending you, listen to the podcast. If you guys haven't listened to my podcast yet, Reclaiming Consciousness, you guys gotta listen. Like, this is where I go really deep and talk about the things that fascinate me the most. Like, if you don't know this about me, I like to go deep. I like to talk about the deeper layers of reality. I like to talk about crazy shit and really explore like all different perspectives of reality, all different people's viewpoints of what's really going on, and people's experiences and stories. And that's what I explore on my podcast. So if you are like me and you love to explore the deeper layers of reality, then you got to listen to my podcast, Reclaiming Consciousness. The episode I just put out is so good. It's with Ali Levine, who's a celebrity stylist, and her experiences with the darkness in Hollywood and her awakening process. It's so good. And it was really long, so I split it into 2 parts. So part 2 will drop next week. So you guys gotta listen. And if you do, please write me a review and send me a screenshot of it, and I'll send you my miracle frequency activation absolutely free when you send me a screenshot of your review, because the podcast is awesome and everybody needs to listen to it. It's so fun. I absolutely love doing it. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm going to stop talking now. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'm sending you so much love, and I will talk to you soon.